This trip was full of surprises. A dog attack, a pig collapse and a mummified monk in Ray-Bans.
We got blessed, barked at and emotionally broken.
There were elephants that made us cry, a cafe full of capybaras,
And a tropical resort that looked absolutely perfect but just wasn't quite us.
and just when we thought it couldn't get weirder, we found ourselves on an island where the locals have curly tails and absolutely no shame.
And I emerged as the queen of the pigs.
It's spiritual, ridiculous, emotional and a little bit weird.
Welcome to Koh Samui, bucket list bound style.
After the heat, the bugs and one too many adventures in Ao Nang, we were due a reset. We'd planned 5 nights on Koh Samui, hoping for a bit of calm and a tiny splash of luxury.
The journey there wasn't exactly relaxing. We didn't film any of it, mostly because we were tired, grumpy and mildly feral by this point. But after we finally docked and took a short taxi ride, something shifted. Down a little track near Bophut Beach, we reached our island escape, Karma Resort.
Lush greenery, whitewashed walls, minimalist vibes, and the kind of place that hands you a drink before they even check your name.
Once we were shown to our villa, I'll admit it was absolutely stunning. Massive room, gorgeous terrace, freezing plunge pool all to ourselves, and lots of space to sprawl and pretend we were influencers.
And we weren't the only ones. The resort had a definite White Lotus energy, smoothie selfies, floaty dresses, and enough posed gazes to summon a fashion week.
We got into the spirit, took some amazing photos, but honestly, it just didn't feel like us. Beautiful, absolutely, but a bit pretentious. A little too curated. More for the gram than for the soul.
We loved being there, but looking back, the resorts we stayed in for half the price actually felt more special. This one looked the part, but didn't quite have the heart.
Plus, it was a bit of a hike to Fisherman's village, and after the 3rd day, that walk back in the dark lost its charm.
Still, it gave us space to breathe. For the first time in days, we weren't rushing anywhere. We made it to Koh Samui, and for now at least, we'd stopped.
Although things were about to get a lot louder.
On Friday night, we left the sanctuary of Karma Resort and joined the masses heading to Fisherman's Village, home to one of Koh Samui's biggest night markets.
We'd heard it was popular, but we weren't expecting gridlock.
Wall-to-wall people, shoulder-to-shoulder shuffling, every few steps, kebab, knock-off handbag, fake Ray-Bans, crocodile on a stick.
Yeah, we skipped the crocodile, opted for donuts instead. But after a while, it all got a bit much. We're not really crowd people, so we dipped out for something quieter.
And 2 minutes later, we found a cafe full of capybaras.
It was just off the main street near the big Fisherman's Village sign, and we had no idea it existed. We had planned to visit one near the Big Buddha later in the trip, but this one found us first.
Open the door and boom, capybaras, guinea pigs, rabbits, parakeets, no signs, no fanfare, just chaos in cuddly form.
I was in heaven, feeding them, snuggling them, giggling like a kid. I've loved animals my whole life, but this was next level joy. Capybaras are basically warm, oversized couch potatoes with whiskers and really squidgy feet, and I adored them.
It wasn't cheap, 400 baht per person, but it included all the animal food and nobody rushed us. The staff were great, no pressure, no upselling, just here are the animals, go make some friends.
It was the perfect escape after the sensory overload of the market. Totally random, totally brilliant, very Koh Samui.
Eventually we dragged ourselves away and headed back to the resort, because the next day, well, it was about to get spiritual. The next morning we swapped sandals for temple shoes and set off on a private full-day island tour we'd booked through Get Your Guide. Temples, waterfalls, elephants, and a few unexpected moments we'll never forget.
It started at Wat Plai Laem, a huge, colourful temple complex surrounded by lakes and guarded by towering gods. Our guide's English wasn't the clearest, but the place spoke for itself. Peaceful, calm, and kind of magical.
What we didn't know, we were about to be blessed by a monk. We hadn't planned it, our guide just said, "Come, I take you," and the next thing we knew, we were kneeling on the temple floor.
Incense in the air, silence all around, and then a soft splash of water. A few gentle taps with sticks and a calm presence we didn't fully understand, but definitely felt. I didn't really get it, but it was peaceful and kind of beautiful.
I found it unexpectedly spiritual, and I'm not a spiritual person. There was a stillness to it, like the world just stopped for a minute. Then we had the classic tourist moment. We weren't made aware that we needed to give a donation. Our money was in the car, so we had to awkwardly run back, get it, and discreetly slide it into an envelope, because the monk isn't allowed to touch money directly. Graceful, as always.
Still, it was an experience we'll probably never have again, so if you get the chance, take it. Just make sure you bring cash.
Next up, the grandfather and grandmother rocks. Let's just say erosion is a powerful artist. Not subtle, definitely unforgettable.
And then something stranger still, the preserved body of Luang Daeng, a revered monk who predicted the exact date and time of his death in 1973. He passed while meditating and requested that his body remain on display, as a reminder that nothing lasts forever.
He's in a glass case wearing Ray-Bans. Not for fashion, they cover his eyes, which naturally darkened over time. The whole thing felt oddly peaceful, quiet, respectful, not a tourist trap, more like a moment of pause.
Next, now Mueang Waterfall. We didn't swim. Honestly, we couldn't. It was a public holiday over there and everyone was there. It was absolutely heaving. It was nice, but we didn't stay long.
Then came the part of the day that really hit us hard, Samui Elephant Home. We hadn't chosen the sanctuary specifically, it was part of the tour, but what we found was something unexpectedly personal.
We were a little worried at first. The elephants were in pens near the entrance, but the staff explained it's a short rotation. It helps them get used to people, but without any chains riding or bathing.
They told us stories of past abuse, chains, beatings, broken spirits. As they talked, we both found ourselves welling up.
We made food balls and fed them bananas and sugarcane, just us, 2 elephants and a guide. No crowds, no rush. After visiting Hidden Forest in Phuket earlier, where we walked alongside elephants in the jungle, this was completely different, but equally powerful. It reminded us again just how much damage wildlife tourism can do and how important places like this really are.
And just when we thought the emotional chaos was over, we ended the day at one final temple.
I wandered off to get a better view, not realising there was a stray sleeping dog nearby. It leapt up and lunged and bit straight through my trousers. Thankfully, it missed my leg by millimetres, but I've never moved so fast in my life.
Our guide just shrugged and said, "Temple Guardian, bit grumpy."
You think? No harm done, thankfully. But let's just say I now keep a much wider berth from stray dogs.
We finished the day emotionally fried, slightly traumatised, and a little more humbled by what Koh Samui had to show us.
But what came next was even weirder and involved pigs. A lot of pigs.
To wrap up our time in Koh Samui, we booked a private tour to the south of the island. 4,000 baht for the two of us, including transport on our own long-tail boat to Koh Madsum, otherwise known as Pig Island.
And yes, it's exactly what it says on the tin. A tropical island covered in pigs.
Apparently the pigs were brought there by Mr. Kit, the owner of a small beach bar on the island. He purchased a family of 4 pigs from a market in Suratani and transported them to Koh Madsum to live. They now run the place.
And they know it. They sunbathe, swim, steal snacks. One tried to pinch a guy's water bottle, and another trotted off with a packet of crisps. It was really quite funny. Before we booked this trip, we'd read reviews about the mess and smell on the island, but honestly, it was the exact opposite. It was very clean, calm, surprisingly scenic, with tree swings, shaded seating, a little shop, and pigs just vibing.
Most people stuck to selfies, but Lauren, nah, not a chance. She went full pig whisperer. I'm pretty sure Lauren's going to spend 2 hours stroking pigs.
I crouched down, gave one a tickle, and suddenly had an entourage. They were literally falling over, lining up for belly rubs, and I was absolutely loving it. It was random, surreal, and hands down one of my favourite moments of the whole trip. The pigs were relaxed, clearly well cared for, and seemed to love the attention. If you're an animal lover, this is bucket list stuff.
We had around 2 hours on the island before heading over to Koh Tan for a bit of snorkeling. Well, bit might be a bit generous. We had about 30 minutes in the water.
The sea was warm and crystal clear, but the reef, not the best. We'd hoped for vibrant coral and marine life, got mostly rocks and sand, and not many fish.
Still, it was nice to cool off, and to be fair, we'd been aiming for Koh Tao, one of the best snorkeling spots in the world, but we just couldn't squeeze it into our agenda.
Next time, definitely.
Pig Island was a wild, wonderful way to close out our time on Koh Samui, the perfect blend of chaos, calm, and curly tails.
Koh Samui surprised us. We could have stayed longer, and looking back, we probably should have. It gave us culture, relaxation, connection, and pigs. What more could you want?
But we were ready to move on, because what came next was something else entirely different. Khao Sok National Park.
Floating bungalows, towering cliffs, an otherworldly boat trip, and scenery that genuinely stopped us in our tracks.
There were food-stealing monkeys, frogs that wouldn't shut up all night, and something called a chicken bat.
It was one of the most beautiful places we've ever seen, followed by one of the hardest evenings of our lives. Thanks so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this adventure, give us a like and let us know your favourite part in the comments. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe and tap the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. You can also follow us on TikTok, Instagram and Facebook for even more behind the scenes moments and extra chaos.